Welcome everyone to the Avengenerds podcast where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host Torrin, and with me is my co-host Peyton. How's it going?
Hi, that's going good. So we got a good show today. There's a disgusting amount of news, to be honest. There's a lot to talk about. And then we're going to be getting into the topic for this week's episode, which is our unpopular comic book movie opinions. So yeah, should we get into this news?
Yeah, let's get into it.
I don't even know where to start. There's so much news. I think let's start with there's some pretty exciting stuff towards the end, so I'll save some of that stuff for last. Um, but let's start with some miscellaneous stuff. Uh, the Uncharted trailer released.
Looks good so far.
It
I like
looks
how they're
fun.
I like how what they're doing. I mean, it is kind of weird they're starting off with like Uncharted 3 and 4, but I'm sure they'll explain some things along the way. But yeah,
I see people say that, and I feel like those are more just like references to the games, and they're just set pieces. It's not like they're following the story beats of 3 and 4.
mhm,
I think we obviously no one really knows yet, but
yeah,
I think those are just like, look, it's the plane, or
yeah,
but it doesn't actually mean anything story wise.
yeah. But like you said, it does look like a fun movie. So I am excited to see that.
I I understand people's concerns about Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. I don't think Tom Holland is a terrible choice. I think it's a little bit jarring, but I feel like once we get into the movie, his performance and his presence will sort of settle in a bit. Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg, on the other hand, I don't
Yeah,
know if I
Mark
can get
Wahlberg
over
was
that.
kind of weird seeing him. Um, it's cause like I feel like I just think of the Transformers movies, and because of that I can't really take Mark Wahlberg seriously. Because it's like he tries to be serious and then it just doesn't work out. So we'll see. I have hopes.
Yeah, I I hope it's good. Video game movies obviously have their bad track record, but every time there
Yeah.
one comes out, it's like maybe this one will break the streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's that. Next piece of news is Mel Gibson has been cast in the John Wick prequel series, The Continental.
There's a John Wick prequel series
Yeah,
coming
there's a
out.
John Wick prequel series coming out.
There
And
there is a there is a John Wick prequel series. Take my money.
John Wick won't be in it.
I know, but still, anything with John Wick, take my money.
Uh, See, I'd agree, but with Mel Gibson's casting, this is a great way
Uh,
for me not to watch something.
well, okay, so like, what's the cast?
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is a known racist.
See, I don't know much about Mel Gibson. Like,
that's
I
that's
thought he was like doing like casting for that project.
nah. He's been cast in it.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, I have no words.
Yeah, I'm not watching this. Let's move on to some Star Wars news. Some pretty exciting Star Wars news. A couple things. The production on the Disney Plus series The Acolyte is on track for an early 2022 start. This is exciting for me. This personally is my most anticipated Star Wars Disney Plus series because it's something new, something we haven't seen before, and I'm excited for Obi-Wan. I'm excited for Ahsoka and stuff like that. But the Acolyte is like unexplored territory for live action Star Wars, and I'm super excited to see that.
Yeah.
Uh, Other than that, the big news, which came out yesterday, I want to say, at the time of recording, obviously, Hayden Christensen will reprise his role as Anakin Skywalker in the Ahsoka series,
Bro, I just started crying and screaming when I saw that, bro. That was amazing.
as we all did, because if we see a flashback sequence from the Clone Wars with young Ahsoka and Clone Wars Anakin, I mean, come on. I
I know,
need
right?
that. I mean, he'll probably be a Force Ghost too, which will also be great. I'd love to see that. But we're getting live action content with Anakin, and that's so exciting. That's so exciting. So as far as DC news goes, some interesting developments, let's say. Ruby Rose, the previous actress for Kate Kane or Batwoman, has come out against Warner Brothers TV, and she's called them out on a ton of stuff.
Definitely
Horrible working conditions.
Like showing like graphs of like her like spine, because she was like almost paralyzed, something like that.
And then she had to go into work like 10 days after and stuff like that. So she's called out Warner Brothers TV and all sorts of stuff, and it's pretty bad. People are also skeptical of some of the stuff she's accused them of, which I get, because some of it is a bit extreme. Like she said that I forgot what cast member what crew member exactly she said, but like someone's like flesh was being like burned off.
That's crazy.
And like in the studio or whatever didn't like pay for like any therapy for the crew and stuff, because they literally watched like this person's skin come off their face. And it's like that's insane. And some people aren't really buying that. So Warner Brothers TV came out with a response, and it's the typical sort of, response to stuff like this. They said, quote, "Despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing online aimed at the producers, the cast and crew, and the network, and the studio, the truth is that Warner Brothers Television has decided not to exercise its option to engage Ruby for season 2 of Batwoman based on multiple complaints about workplace behavior that were extensively reviewed and handled privately out of respect for all concerned." So it's just like a nothing response that's like, we're innocent. And she's like, with no real evidence to back up anything. People are choosing to believe Warner Brothers. I find it hard to believe Warner Brothers after,
the Ray Fisher thing.
Yeah, Ray Fisher. Just a whole bunch of stuff. There's been people calling out Warner Brothers TV before from other CW shows. And one of the actors, I believe the actor who plays like what's his name?
Batwoman?
No, the guy.
What guy?
Lucius Fox's son.
Oh, you're talking about the actor?
Yeah.
Don't know the actor's name.
I don't know the actor's name either, but that guy, he came out and he said like she got fired and she was horrible to work with, essentially. And people are more inclined to believe him because he's a crew member. But at the same time, you have people saying, well, obviously he's gonna
vouch for them
for the studio because he doesn't want to be them. Yeah, but then there's also people saying, well, he didn't have to say anything, which is true. So this whole situation is a mess, and we're just gonna have to wait until more stuff comes out about this.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's only one more piece of DC news. It's about the Batman. It says Bruce Wayne will be struggling with mental illness throughout the Batman, and it will tie into his mother's past troubles with mental illness as well. So this is an interesting thing to do for Batman, something we haven't really seen before. Like, obviously Batman has struggled through mental illness and stuff like that, but to like tie it in to his mother is something we haven't seen really.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting. Any news on the Batman I will take. So now we're going to move into some Marvel news. And of course, like every week, there's just a million pieces of Marvel news because a million things are going on at Marvel. The first piece of news is, I hope I don't butcher this name, Mohan Kapoor, who plays Kamala Khan's father in Miss Marvel, has stated that the series is likely to release in June or July of 2022 rather than the previously expected January or February. So that sucks. I assume it's probably because of post production.
Yeah.
She's a very CG heavy character, and I think that while this does suck, and so this is like, well, I was gonna say it's the second delay, but we didn't really. We knew it was delayed. It wasn't going to come out yet this year, but we didn't know it was delayed when, so it's more like the first delay. This sucks, but we're just gonna have to wait longer. Is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse, but I think the summer is a good point for the show to come out.
Definitely.
So I'm not like, I'm not upset about that, considering of the layout of movies that are coming along. Like with the Batman coming out in March, Doctor Strange being delayed, so the other projects, Doctor Strange coming out in May. So I think it works. It fits really well.
Yeah, you mentioned it a little bit there, but speaking of delays, there's been quite a few delays in the MCU slate. The first of which, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was previously slated to come out on March 25th, is now coming out May 6th. So a lot of these delays aren't really all that extreme, except one of them. One of them's pretty extreme. This sucks, but again, we're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. It's not that big of a delay, so I don't really see anything to worry about with these delays, but this is what they are. Thor: Love and Thunder, which was previously dated on May 6th, which is where Doctor Strange is now, is moving to July 8th, 2022. So again, a couple months delay. This one's a little bit more extreme. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which is previously dated for July 8th, is now moving to November 11th. So a little bit of a longer delay, but still not all that crazy. Now, The Marvels was coming out 2022, but now is coming out February 17th, 2023.
Yeah.
Which was previously the date for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which has now moved to July 28th, 2023. And there's also a couple other unnamed Marvel movies that also got delayed. But because we didn't know what those are, there's no real attachment to them, so it is what it is. So again, these delays suck, but this is just the world we live in right now. But also, Kevin Feige said that they felt comfortable shifting these slots because, one, they have so many slots, and two, they felt the need to give their productions more time, so these aren't rushed, which I'll take a non-rushed movie over a rushed movie any day, right?
Yeah.
Along with that, we have a couple bits of news. Fantastic Four and the A Nova movie are reported to start production in 2023. So maybe for a 2024-2025 release. Usually these MCU movies had a year turnaround time, but I think because of the pandemic and stuff, they feel more comfortable taking a little bit more time with their movies, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, Fantastic Four and Nova coming sooner than we think.
Should have gotten Nova in 2018. But
no, he sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up.
Next piece of news is the Eternals premiere happened, and the early reactions are unsurprisingly very positive. So that's very super exciting. So yeah, it's very positive. The post-credit scene leaked. Don't. Please.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't want spoilers, tread lightly. Which is so odd because I feel usually stuff from those things don't leak. Like Venom made sense because it was a fan screening, but like this was like an official premiere. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's super exciting. Eternals is looks like one of the most different MCU movies we're going to be getting, and that seems to be reflected in the reviews. People are saying it's the most unique MCU movie, which is very exciting. If you're sort of tired of that MCU look and MCU vibe, then this movie probably be for you. Next bit of news is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has begun shooting, kind of. James Gunn said that Chris Pratt is on set and they're rehearsing and doing camera tests and stuff. So it's their first day, but not really. It's like technically their first day of production, but it's not their first day of shooting.
Mm.
Yeah, he said like his first day was months ago, but like actual first day of shooting is a while off. So along with that, we have you seen this book that came out called The Story of Marvel Studios? It's like this book officially licensed by Marvel Studios that tells sort of the story of everything.
Nah, I haven't seen it.
Well, the author of said book has sort of hinted at the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not part of the MCU and that Agent Carter is part of the MCU. So people are sort of like freaking out. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans are obviously sad and mad about it that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the MCU. And I honestly, I never really thought Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in the MCU. I don't know about you. Like there's like connections there, but they don't. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel like it's connected at all.
Yeah, I mean, I never really watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like that. I tried to, but I dropped it. But like, I still like whenever I saw scenes, I was like, that's not part of the MCU at all. Because like, well, one of the things was like like Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is not even in the MCU yet, so I don't think that would really do it with like with that show.
Yeah.
And there's just some other. They try to make it canon, with all that Infinity War type thing, like whatever, like, but it didn't work out. So I just never thought the show was canon in the first place.
I've seen people say that the first like few seasons are canon, but then after that they sort of split off into their own timeline, which I get, but I mean still I doubt that show will have any bearing on the MCU. If it's canon, if it's not canon, it doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Yeah.
So moving beyond that, this is a very exciting piece of news. It looks like the She-Hulk series may set up a World War Hulk movie that is already eyeing production in late 2022.
Oh my God. Like, I said this so many times, and I know that there is a large part of the MCU fandom that agrees, is that Hulk is just like he doesn't get enough appreciation, and the MCU did him dirty. I've said this. I will keep saying it. I'm glad that we're getting something revolving World War Hulk. The World War Hulk story, it's kind of a big one to do, but I want to see what they do with that.
I mean,
I'm just
you know these movies, they like take storylines,
Yeah.
but they sort of morph them to fit their universe. So
Yeah, I know, but nonetheless, I'm glad that we're getting a Hulk movie, something that's been long, long overdue.
100%. So Sony has added 2 untitled Marvel movies to their 2023 release slate, and that doesn't include Kraven. So if everything goes according to plan, there's going to be 3 Sony Marvel movies in 2023. People are speculating that it's like Venom 3, which makes sense, and people are just sort of speculating on the second one, but people are pretty confident that it's Venom 3. I don't I don't care for these Sony Marvel movies. So I'm just like, hey, more of this.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Morbius isn't out yet, so maybe that'll be fantastic for all we know. You know.
That's true.
Uh, Beyond that, we have some No Way Home news. A few pieces of No Way Home news. A new cover came out for, I believe it was Empire magazine, and there was a couple variations. It's there. Spider-Man's there in his new suit that we hadn't seen before, besides leaks. And he's there. He's like holding this sort of like a magical Doctor Strange web that's been hinted at with leaks and stuff. Along with that, someone in the replies to one of those tweets, the Sony account replied with three spiders emoji, three Spider-Men.
Interesting.
There's a rumored runtime for No Way Home that's 2 hours and 30 minutes, which makes sense.
No, I need it to be 8 hours long, bro.
I mean, I'd take 8 hours, but I think I'd prefer 24.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Along with that, we have a couple of new stills that literally just came out this morning that we recorded this. So the No Way the magazine cover that came out a couple days ago. Actually, I think it was just yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. It shows the alternate cover that shows not all the villains, but most of the villains, and one of them that's now 100% confirmed, that was mostly speculation before from the trailer, is Sandman. So Sandman's 100% going to be in the movie. That's cool. I forget the actor's name in Spider-Man 3. Do you remember his name?
Thomas Hayden Church, something like that?
Yes. He was fantastic. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but
definitely doesn't.
He was great.
We're gonna skip over the fact that I almost said Hayden Christensen.
No, I heard that. I heard that.
God, I was like, what? My bad.
But
fuck, damn.
Yeah. So the three emoji tweet. That's definitely a tease, right? There's no way. Like, I saw people saying, "Well, 3 spiders for the third movie," and I was like, I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. But
I doubt it as well.
What do you think about those new stills?
They're really cool. The second one, I'm gonna make some memes with that one. I'm gonna make a meme with
yeah, people are not happy about that one.
They're not happy. Well, yeah, I've seen people were like, "Oh, the CGI." Like, bro, like, sorry that long mechanical like octopus legs aren't real. Like,
no, it's not that. It's like because Spider-Man looks weird. The fact that he's running away, Doc Ock doesn't have a shadow. It is weird. That, in fairness, though, that is a weird still to use. Like, why that one?
I don't know.
But the second one, it's looking good.
Yeah, the one with his mask off and everything, he's all damaged. Yeah,
looks more like Tom Holland said, visceral.
Definitely.
I really, I want him to get his ass beat, like really bad.
Someone said,
I need to see a damaged version of that suit.
Facts. Never mind. I'll read this comment later. I'm not reading comments right now. I'm not reading comments.
What did it say?
Someone said Tom's Peter can't keep his mask on even if you paid him. But then someone is a Chad and was like, "Nah, that's all Spider-Man. They always like to take their mask off."
That's
what
facts.
Chad.
But it also could have been pulled off. I mean, we were seeing that still out of context.
True.
But yeah, that's the news of the week.
All right.
Got through it fast, but there was a lot. I had to just rush them. But so yeah, let's get into our topic for this week. Unpopular comic book movie or just movie opinions. Why don't you start us off?
All right. So my first opinion is that Ben Affleck's Daredevil, like just his character, is actually not that bad to me. I think, of course, I'm not gonna compare it to the Netflix one because we all know that's peak fiction. But I think for what it was at the time too, I don't think his Daredevil was like horrible. The movie itself is bad, but his character no. And I also like the red leather, you know,
Tint
traditional
suit.
Daredevil suit. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that. It's
Yeah,
looks really nice.
I agree to a certain extent. I don't think Ben Affleck was bad. I think he did good. Obviously, he doesn't hold a candle to Charlie Cox, but for the time, he
Mm,
was good. Movie's trash. I don't like the suit,
I like
uh,
it.
but I also don't really like the Netflix one either.
I want to see the
It's
Netflix one on.
the
Like, I want to see the
Daredevil.
traditional.
The Daredevil suit is just like the Flash suit. It's insanely difficult to pull off in live action.
Yeah, and I mean, and that could be said for like a lot of comic book suits
Any
in live
suit that
action.
sort of has like that onesie sort of skin tight look to it, except Spider Man, but that has a mask. Like Daredevil and Flash have the half thing going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it definitely is like pretty hard to pull off. But like, I don't know, because also I saw that movie when I was like super duper young, so that kind of has like that suit itself has like a special place in my heart.
yeah, I get that.
Um, so that's one of my unpopular opinions.
Yeah, one of mine is the Winter Soldier is not as good as people think.
Oh yeah, I'm done. End the podcast.
Okay,
End it.
my bad. Okay, well, thank you for listening to no. uh, yeah, it's overrated. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's
Okay.
not. It's good. It's a great movie.
Hmm.
It's still top five
Yeah.
MCU movies.
Hmm.
But people act like it's the best Marvel movie to ever exist.
Oh yeah, and
It
you know that
it's
that's
not.
fine. I genuinely think that the Winter Soldier is a shit, you know how much I love the Winter Soldier. You know how much I love that movie. But I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. And I'm not going to argue.
Good.
So now, with that saying that, you're wrong. I'm kidding. So for my second unpopular opinion, oh man, gonna get some hate. Not saying this is a bad movie, all right?
All
Because
right.
with the certain word I'm gonna say, people will
Okay.
say, "Oh my God, it's a bad." You're saying it's bad. No, The Dark Knight is overrated, right? It is an overrated movie. Probably one of the most overrated movies, superhero movies ever.
Elaborate, please.
Elaborate.
Elaborate, please. What
It is a
about
good.
what about it
It
is
is.
overrated?
It is a good. Okay, it's a good movie, right? But I just I really feel like most of it has to do with Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
because like most of the time, or at least of what I've seen, is whenever I see all the Dark Knight, right? It's mostly tied to the fact that it was with Heath Ledger's Joker. So of course, but of course, Heath Ledger's Joker is a standout to like that movie. And the thing is that just because it has Heath Ledger's Joker, I'm not seeing much of Batman. So whenever I think of the Dark Knight, I don't think of Batman. I think of just mostly of it being Joker. So I don't see it as a reason for it to be as hyped as it is. And like I think with Nolan is a phenomenal director and some cinematographer too. He's a cinematographer to a certain extent. He knows what he's doing with the bat. He has a good Batman, good iteration of Batman. But the Dark Knight, I just don't see the hype with all that there. And of course, that's not taken away from everyone's acting talent as well, because Christian Bale can act. Michael Caine is always fantastic in any role that he's in. Um, Not a big fan of what is it, Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, Maggie
Not a big fan.
Gyllenhaal.
Not a big fan of her. Um, and
Tell that to
it
Jake's
was
face.
I will.
Oh.
Anyways, I don't see the entirety of the hype of the Dark Knight. I do think it's a really good. I think it's a good movie. Sometimes even really good. And the trilogy itself is really good. I just don't see it all that well for me.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. I wouldn't say it's one of the most overrated superhero movies of all time. I don't know if I go that far.
I mean,
I think it
think it's a,
deserves to be in the top 5 conversation, but I do agree with the fact that it's very much carried by Heath Ledger's Joker. Anytime I watch that movie and he's not on screen, I'm like, okay, can we get back to the Joker, please? Because that's really all I want to see.
Yeah.
So I do agree in that sense. Okay. The next one for me, here we go. Here we go. The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie since Empire.
Okay.
And it's not a competition at all. The Last Jedi is just, it's so good. It's so good.
And the thing is, I forgot you were gonna put, like, I didn't even think about this because I know how much you love The Last Jedi. That is very unpopular.
Yeah, it's very unpopular.
The most polarizing Star Wars movie. Damn.
Yeah. Listen, Luke was done incredibly well. People are like, well, that's not Luke Skywalker. He would do that. He absolutely would. Listen, he's not... The thing that I loved about The Last Jedi, Luke, is that he's not an idiot. And what I mean by that is he saw through the Jedi. The Jedi, with the prequels show, which is the thing that everyone seems to love so much, the things that the prequels show is that the Jedi freaking suck. They're trash. And so Luke is like reading these like ancient Jedi texts, and he's, like studying the Jedi and whatever, and he's like, the Jedi suck. These guys suck. He's like Palpatine was like there the entire time and they didn't notice. Like, well, these freaking people are idiots. Like, these guys are trash. And so his whole world is like falling around him, and this whole thing that he's dedicated his life to is crashing. And so he's like, see you later, right? And not only that, his Jedi temple that he was doing, and Kylo Ren and all that whole freaking argument. He was gonna kill. He had a split-second moment of, I can't think of the word, but he made a mistake, and he knew it the second he turned that lightsaber on, and he regretted it immediately and wasn't going to do anything. But the only thing people seem to want to remember is Ben's recollection of it, which is him like menacingly like staring him down and like ready to kill him, which is just not what happened. And people are like, well, Luke wouldn't do that. I disagree. I think Luke's come very close to the dark side. In Return of the Jedi, he doesn't show any restraint. He's not, in the beginning of the movie, he's very sort of Jedi-like, and he's, being like cool, calm, collector or whatever. But by the end of the movie, he's just wailing on Darth Vader. And,
you definitely see.
And he's showing the whole point of, not the whole point of the Jedi, but part of being a Jedi is not letting your emotions get to you, because that's you inching closer to the dark side, and which is exactly what he was doing at the end of Return of the Jedi. Luke isn't immune. He's not. He's human, and that's what I loved about The Last Jedi. Luke, he says it to Rey. He's like, you don't. I'm a legend, but that's not who I really am. I can't just go down and face the First Order with a laser sword. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. Now, eventually he does that by outsmarting everyone, and people were disappointed in that too, as if, again, like he's gonna like mow them all down, just him alone. That doesn't make any sense. So, the only criticism of The Last Jedi that I truly do understand is Canto Bight. That could have been just, which is, I truly think that if it wasn't for Canto Bight, it could have been better than Empire. But
that is That is the biggest hot take
Listen,
ever. That's
I
hard.
know,
That's hotter than a tea
I
kettle when it's
know, I
steaming.
know. Okay, and also this movie not necessarily introduced, but they emphasized this idea of Rey being a nobody, which is far more interesting than her being related to someone that we already know. And it
Yeah.
was, and they were playing so hard with it too. Then obviously in the Rise of Skywalker, we all know what happened there. But the fact
Mm-hmm.
that they were like, she's a nobody and she has all this raw power, I'm like, yes, that's awesome. Anyone can be a Jedi. That's that's fantastic. Uh, the crate looks gorgeous.
Ray
Uh,
looks. He does look phenomenal. I
the
like that a lot.
cinematography in that movie is like incredible, especially in the crate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, there's a ton of stuff in that movie that just the complaints just don't make any sense to me. Like in the beginning of the movie, Poe is like doing that like sort of prank call-ish like joke on what's his name, and people are like, why is this shouldn't be funny. What are they trying to be, Marvel? Why is jokes in my Star Wars? As if comedy hasn't been in Star Wars before. But not only that, I've seen people saying, well, it's this specific kind of brand of humor that doesn't fit, even though that brand of humor was in Rogue One. And from the same character in the beginning of The Force Awakens, like Poe was like about to be executed, and he's like, do I talk first? Do you talk first? How are we going to do it? Like, he's being jokey. That's his thing. So he does in The Last Jedi, and all of a sudden it's trash. It doesn't make any sense. And all again, and I'm just with Snoke, him getting killed is not that's not a bad thing. The Emperor,
Yeah.
because obviously now we know in The Rise of Skywalker was Palpatine the whole time or whatever. But let's
Yeah.
pretend for a second that The Rise of Skywalker doesn't exist, right? Him getting killed is no different without any without really being a character, with no explanation to him at all, is no different than when the Emperor was killed in Return of the Jedi. There is no difference, but like, and no one complains about that. But in this, it's trash. Doesn't make any sense.
That and Darth Maul
Yes,
in episode 1.
yes.
Oh dude, I gotta find that tweet, bro. I had to find that tweet. I'm sorry, but man, but continue.
That's really it. I feel like there's definitely probably something. I mean, the whole Luke versus Kylo fight at the end was just fantastic to me. Like, no one's gonna do like flips and prequel style stuff. That's not the universe that we live in anymore. It wasn't like that in the original trilogy. Why would it be like that now?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all I got for for right now.
All right. I mean, that actually gave me a new perspective on The Last Jedi. Cause like I mean, I never hated The Last Jedi, but like of course I never liked it. I never loved it as much as you did. But now that you said that,
I'd recommend a rewatch
okay.
and pretend
I
The
will
Rise of Skywalker doesn't exist.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
Uh,
But yeah,
oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, one more thing. Superman Leia, I don't understand the complaints about that. I'm sorry. She has the Force. It's not. She's not like,
Yeah.
she's not literally flying to it. She's pulling herself to the door. Why can she survive in space? She has the Force. It's Leia. I don't understand. Well, and then people were like, well, the CGI looks bad. No, it doesn't. Move on. You say your thing.
it's like people notice like they notice that it's CGI and they're like, well, CGI is bad. Like, okay, buddy, sorry that you have eyes. Anyways, going back to the Dark Knight, and I don't think this is slander in any way, but the Dark Knight and the Raimi trilogy have, in my opinion, created just this like unusual standard for Batman and Spider-Man in live action. Because between the Raimi trilogy stopping in 2007, I mean, yeah, no, 2007, right?
Yeah, 2007.
Yeah, 2007, and then we're getting the duology of the Amazing Spider-Man films until now with Tom Holland being the MCU. I just see so many people being like, not Tom Holland. Yeah, Tom Holland is just like a bad Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is better. Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man, and it's just like, and
It's fine to like Toby more, but you can't.
yeah,
Just because it's not Toby, you just can't discredit the other two.
yeah, and it's just like the thing is, I love every Spider-Man to on screen because we never had a bad live action Spider-Man in my opinion.
100%.
They're all Peter Parker. They're all Spider-Man. They're just different iterations and different aspects from different comics of each Spider-Man. So I don't understand.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to say, eventually we will be getting into Spider-Man mode for this podcast, and each week we're going to be talking about the different iterations of Spider-Man. So one week we'll be talking about the Raimi trilogy, the week after we'll be talking about Andrew, the week after we'll be talking about Tom, and then the week before No Way Home comes out, we're going to be talking about each Spider-Man and their pros and cons and what makes each of them a good Spider-Man and what each of them lacks. And we're also probably going to talk about how trash the Spider-Man fan base is and a lot of the stupid complaints for each Spider-Man. So because we don't want to come off biased, but we do want to address some of that stuff. Go on.
Yeah. So because of that, we're all, I mean, me and Peyton both are on social media, like Twitter and TikTok especially, and we just see a bunch of people like, oh my god, Tobey Maguire, he's the only Spider-Man, he's the best Spider-Man, and it's like that. Like it's like what Peyton said, it's fine if you like Tobey more, but to completely discredit like Tom and Andrew, it just doesn't sit right with me at all. Same thing with Batman. Like people are like, oh my god, I want Christian Bale back. Why Christian Bale is the best Batman? He's the only Batman. And it's like, bro, like, stop discrediting other like versions of Batman. It's literally just Batman. And of course, there's some times where the actors will do something like completely different or completely like just like the certain characteristics would be better that are not shown in the other movies. But I just don't like the fact that because of a certain trilogy and certain actors, you just have to just become completely toxic over that. And that's why I hope that stops, like with the Batman and No Way Home coming out. Like I really do hope that those movies change people's perspectives on like their previous actors and everything, because it's just like it's fine to like those actors, but I never thought about just being like, oh well, I like Tobey Maguire more because he's only Spider-Man to me. And I'm not gonna. I mean, probably most of it has to do with nostalgia to an extent, but still, I don't like that at all. That's it for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It just sets a unfair precedent for future iterations of the character. You can have multiple versions. It's fine. Again, you don't have to like those versions, but just to say they're objectively trash just because they're not like the versions that you grew up with is just such weird behavior. Yeah. Now, luckily, especially with the Spider-Man one, well, really, either of them, it's a vocal minority. The majority of people aren't that idiotic. Mm-hmm. So that's good, but they're very vocal. They're a very vocal minority, and it's just very annoying. So for me, my next one, very small. Iron Man 3 is great.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Iron Man 3, it just gets better with age. The Mandarin twist is controversial, of course, but I liked it. I really loved the idea that the movie played on the Mandarin is this Middle Eastern terrorist guy. Oh, of course that's the bad guy. It's, Middle Eastern, yeah, terrorist, yep, makes sense. But in reality, it's just this white guy, domestic terrorist that's behind everything. I love that it played on Western ideas of what a terrorist is, and then dashing those expectations. I understand comic book fans being mad at the Mandarin twist. I totally get it. Obviously, that's a bit, remedied now with Shang-Chi. But even still, at the time, I thought it was fantastic. I really think it's a great movie. It's also a good Christmas movie. I watch it like every Christmas because it's a Christmas movie.
Yep.
I thought his whole interaction, his little friendship with that kid, was really fun.
Yeah, that I like that too.
It was also, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, it gave Iron Man a perspective of like, hey, this is like what it's like not being an asshole for once, but it's still Tony Stark in a way. He still kind of was like, Tony Stark, but still, it did give him a little bit more, like just a little bit more like, character development. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I also loved how you get to see him work without the suit. Mm-hmm. Which was always the question in the first Avengers. Take that big suit armor, take that off. What are you? Well, he's still a competent hero. That's what makes him super. He's not, he's a superhero for a reason.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's mine. Iron Man 3 is massively underrated. It does not deserve the hate it gets.
For sure. So for my fourth one is that the Doctor Strange and Ant-Man movies they deserve more appreciation, and I feel like they are a little more important than other MCU movies. Considering with Doctor Strange, I'm gonna say this every time I bring up Doctor Strange. It's still so funny how Doctor Strange brought up the multiverse, and people, when Far From Home came out, they were discussing the multiverse. And it's like you haven't watched Doctor Strange, and it shows. Like, without all this stuff, it wasn't because of Doctor. It was.
And then they announced the title for Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness, and people were still like, "Nah, multiverse isn't a thing."
Yeah, I'm just like, why? Why are y'all disregarding it so much? But anyways, yeah. And the thing is with Ant-Man, the Ant-Man movies, they're solid movies. They're decent movies, and they're something like, they're not like, oh my god, oh my god, but they do have an important aspect in the MCU, which is the Quantumverse or the quantum realm, and that's something we're going to be seeing a lot more of in Quantum Mania. So I am excited for that. But yeah, I really do think that people just show more respect to these, well, not respect, but like more recognition to these movies and more appreciation to them.
Yeah, Marvel seems to have this thing where they're more underappreciated or their more underrated movies seem to be the most important.
Yeah,
which is, it's funny, to be honest. like Thor: The Dark World being such a big player in Endgame. Obviously Ant-Man with the quantum realm stuff. I find it so like wild to me, but that's just it for that one. All right, so my next one is the old Fantastic Four movies and the Ghost Rider movies are great movies. I like them a lot, especially the Fantastic Four ones. They're just great fun.
Oh yeah. You just love Reed Richards turning into Wolverine, don't you?
Hell yeah, I do.
Oh, that's a cursed scene. Very cursed.
It is a cursed scene, but those movies are great, especially the dynamic between Human Torch and the Thing. Mm-hmm. They just nailed that.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, so they're just fun movies. Are they great movies? No, they're not. But there's definitely a nostalgia factor to them because I watched them a lot as a kid. I admit that. But I love them a lot. And as far as the Ghost Rider movies, especially I actually think the second one is better, but I enjoy the first one more.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, I watched him a lot as a kid, and I thought it was like the coolest thing. I mean, Ghost Rider is still cool. It's a freaking flaming skull riding a motorcycle with a chain, like a huge chain as a weapon. Like, hell yeah,
For sure.
But yeah, that's I don't really have anything I don't have anything else to say about that.
Okay. So I'm writing another unpopular opinion.
All right. My next one is blasphemous, probably.
Oh, okay. I'm waiting for this one. Well, you said an unpopular opinion that'd be blasphemous to the 50% of the Star Wars fandom.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Edward Norton's Hulk is a good Hulk.
All right. Well, we're stopping the podcast there. Thank you for listening to the. No.
And so here's what I like about Edward Norton's Hulk. It's the look. It's the look of it.
See,
Not to say
that's the worst aspect.
Shut up.
That's
Shut
literally
up.
the worst part.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Well, I do agree, right? I do like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk a lot. I think Mark Ruffalo plays a great Bruce Banner, for sure. I like his Hulk too because like his Hulk gives me like Hulk cover, like the cover of Hulk vibes. But like Edward Norton, like when I recently rewatched The Incredible Hulk, I was like, damn, like I like this Hulk a lot. I like the look of it. It's more brutalizing, like, or not brutalizing. It's more menacing. You see his veins pop out. It's,
I hate that.
you know, I will say I'm not a big fan of the haircut. You know, it kind of has this like little emo boy kind of haircut. You know, kind of a little longer hair. But that's fine. I like that. Way more just hair, kind of a little bit more darker shade of green, but I like that a lot. I like that look of Edward Norton's Hulk. But you know, I'm fine of the Hulk that you know we have and we are going to be seeing more of in the MCU. But yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah, I think Edward Norton did a good job as Bruce Banner. He's, as far as look goes, I think he's actually pretty a good choice. I don't really. He's good, but yeah, just Mark Ruffalo just fits the bill for Bruce Banner so well. But as far as the Hulk design goes, I hate it. I think the green is too dark, but I also feel like that whole movie is kind of dark.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in that final battle.
Literally see like freaking a human get kicked by the Hulk into a tree, and like
God, that seems so funny.
I know it is funny, and then I rewatched because I watched like part of the movie. Like this is how forgettable this movie was at the time. I watched like, you know, Blonsky fight the Hulk, and I'm like, how is he going toe to toe with the Hulk? And I was like, oh, I forgot he has a super soldier serum. I forgot about that. But then it ended when he got kicked. Yeah, you know, that was funny to me.
As far as the Hulk design goes, yeah, you're right. The hair is, I mean, it is what it is. It's not like bad, but it's also not great either. I think peak design for the Hulk is Age of Ultron and the first Avengers. But in the Incredible Hulk, the whole muscly look, like you can see it. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. I think it's gross. He looks slimy. I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it at all.
Wow.
But that movie, the movie as a whole is better than I remembered it, because I also watched it semi recently, and because I hadn't seen it in a long time. I had tried to watch it a couple times actually, but the beginning is so boring and so slow. I was just like, I don't want to watch this. But I pushed through the one time, and I was like, this is better than I remember. Still not great though. My next one is probably blasphemous. I think it's blasphemous. No, it's blasphemous, but it's accurate. The Captain America trilogy is better than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, dude.
Now,
Holy.
now let's break this down, right? So obviously they're both trilogies, right? You have Captain America: The First Avenger, then Winter Soldier, then Civil War. For Dark Knight, you got Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Let's break it down, all right? So if we're going to take these movies and rank them just generally as far as popularity go, worst to best, it would be Batman, or it'd be The Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, right? And for Captain America, it would be The First Avenger, The Winter Soldier, and then probably Civil War. You can probably flip those two depending on who you ask, but I feel like just generally, I think Civil War, even though people like to say The Winter Soldier is like the best thing ever made, I feel like a majority of people would probably say Civil War is their favorite.
Yeah.
So let's look at it like that, right? So
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises versus Captain America: The First Avenger. The First Avenger is better, I think, right? A lot of people don't like The Dark Knight Rises, and that makes a lot of sense. All right, you go to the next one, The Winter Soldier versus Batman Begins. The Winter Soldier's better.
Okay.
You go to the next one, Civil War versus The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight would probably win, even though Civil War is a fantastic movie. So that's Captain America. That's 2-1 in favor of Captain America. And then if you look at it as far as consistency goes, you have the first Captain America, which is decent, but a majority of people probably wouldn't put it in, I mean, we'd love that movie, but as just generally speaking, not a lot of people's favorite, right?
Yeah.
And then the other two are beloved. And then you have the Dark Knight trilogy, and then you have Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises, which is, people don't really talk about Batman Begins and people don't like The Dark Knight Rises, and then you have The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So the Captain America trilogy is also more consistent.
Okay. No,
It's better.
That's fair. And that's fair to say. That's fair to say.
Captain America trilogy is better. 100%.
That is wow. That is a hot take. I've actually never really heard that hot take.
Do you agree?
Wow. I understand it.
But do you agree?
I can agree to an extent, yes.
What do you mean?
I agree to an extent.
How?
I mean, I had nothing else to say because you kind of already said it for me.
So you agree?
To an extent, yeah. but because it's Batman, I'm gonna pick Batman because Batman rules everything.
He solos every character.
Batman solo is like the universe.
Batman would solo Thanos with enough prep time.
I know, right? But nah, actually, yeah, I can agree with I can agree with that.
You see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, but but what I'm going to do for right now, as a placekeeper, I'm going to rewatch both trilogies, and I'll give you my thoughts on those.
All right.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Birds of Prey is better than Guardians 1. Now, I'm kidding.
Okay. Oh my god.
Dude, your heart sunk. I know that.
You had me. I was like, what? I like Birds of Prey, but better than Guardians 1.
But I will say, Wonder Woman 1984 and Birds of Prey are actually pretty, they're enjoyable watches. They're enjoyable movies.
Agreed.
And I'm gonna add on to this. I think that Birds of Prey was a little jumpstart to the DCEU becoming a little bit better.
100%. Yeah, it's really, you could give the same credit to Shazam, but
yeah,
Birds of Prey is a lot more violent.
Wait, Birds of Prey came out after Shazam? I thought it came out before Shazam.
No, Birds of Prey came out in 2020.
What?
Yeah, it came out during the pandemic.
What?
Yeah, that's why no one saw it, because it was right at the peak of sort of everyone being scared of the pandemic. So no one saw it. That's why it flopped so hard.
Dude, what the hell? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in theaters, but I don't remember it coming out in 2020.
Yeah, bro. It was like early 2020.
What? That's so wild. Cause like I was thinking, cause Shazam can be said, yeah, like you said, it can be said about Shazam too. But I feel like I feel like with Shazam it was a different change of pace, which was needed for
The Birds of
the
Prey
DCU.
walked so the Suicide Squad could run.
Ooh, okay.
It's that for
Mm.
the DCE, like without Birds of Prey, I feel like the Suicide Squad wouldn't have really had a chance to not necessarily be as good as it is. Is not what I'm saying, but like I feel like DC wouldn't be as confident in
Hmm.
sort of that sort of tone
Yeah.
because Birds of Prey did it first.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's both said with Shazam and Birds of Prey were really good jump starts to the DCEU becoming better. But to add on to Wonder Woman 1984, and people were, when the movie came out, people were saying it's just a bad movie, whatever. And then you watched it and you said that, wasn't that bad. And then I watched it. I was like, wow, this is actually an enjoyable watch. Like it is a very convoluted like film
It's
because
not great.
the whole, yeah, it's definitely not great, but it's not as bad people make it out to be
It's
because
very
it
fun.
is an enjoy because yeah, it's a fun film.
Like
I
that whole sequence. I always talk about Pedro Pascal in it, but like besides Pedro Pascal, the whole sequence where Steve Trevor is sort of like being like so excited about like all this futuristic stuff
mm-hmm.
in the 80s, and he's just like, whoa. And he's like, what's this? And she's like, that's a trash can. He's like, oh. That was like super infectious.
Yeah, I do think that the whole thing with the Dreamcatcher stone was it was kind of like a convoluted thing.
And it kind of
Um,
broke a lot of the stuff in the universe.
yeah, it did, but I still think that for what it's worth, it was a fun film. I did wish we saw more of Cheetah. Cheetah
Mm.
is really good. Because I was actually really excited for Cheetah because Cheetah is a really powerful like villain when it comes to Wonder Woman. Simply because like she's just like abnormally strong. And like her skill set as a villain is just when it comes to Wonder Woman, she becomes a really big threat. So that's why I was excited to see her. But we didn't get more of that, and I was kind of disappointed. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for that one.
All right, my next one is Batman Forever is pretty freaking solid, and I think it's better than Batman versus Superman.
Hmm. I never seen Batman. I've never seen Batman Forever, so I can't speak on
You
that.
should. Val Kilmer
Is it
is a very underrated Batman. The Batsuit is questionable.
nipples?
But I think Val Kilmer was actually a solid Batman. Jim Jim Carrey's Riddler is solid. Tommy Lee Jones's Two Face, also decent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a really underrated Batman movie, and I feel like it's the juxtaposition between like getting the Dark Knight Returns, getting Batman Returns, and then shifting into the super campy Batman Forever.
Isn't it like? Isn't it one of those like Schumacher films?
Yeah, it's the first Schumacher film.
Oh, okay, that's why. I just haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, dropped the ball hard with Batman and Robin, but I actually think Batman Forever was genuinely pretty freaking solid.
Hmm.
And as far as it being better than BVS, you haven't seen it, so you wouldn't know. But it's better than
We're not.
BVS. You probably wouldn't think it's better than BVS, but I think it's a lot more fun than
Nah.
BVS.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I like it. I like it. I think it's underrated. I think people should give it a second chance. But yeah, that's really all I have for that.
That's interesting. I have to watch Batman Forever. Maybe after the podcast, while I eat. After I'm
Boom
done
Patrol.
binging Doom Patrol. God, that's such a good show.
Yeah, now I gotta catch up. Now I feel like I'm fucking falling behind. Goddamn.
Seven. My seventh.
The movie Seven.
Never seen it.
It's a great film.
You'll be surprised. As a film major, I haven't watched that many movies, iconic ones. I still have yet to watch The Godfather.
I still haven't seen The Godfather either.
I know. I've been slacking, bro. I recently watched Scarface like 3 months ago.
I haven't seen Scarface either.
Really? Not a big fan of the end. Not a big fan of the ending.
There's a lot of movies I haven't seen too.
Yeah.
Exactly. That should be we should do a podcast where we watch like 3 movies like iconic movies that we've never seen.
Yeah, we should do that one day. But 7, Watchmen deserves more appreciation, and I think it's one of Zack Snyder's better films, or like one of Zack Snyder's best films.
That is one of the worst takes I've ever heard.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
Just all aggressive. But like, yeah, I've said it a lot. I really do think that I really love Watchmen. Like, I love the series. I really do like the movie. And I just feel like Watchmen right now, well, not right now, but I have yet to see like a lot of, not necessarily praise, but not slander either for Watchmen. I feel like it's one of those movies to where it's like, at the time for me when I watched it, it was like one of those, one and done movies. But I watched it again and I'm like, wow, this movie is really, really good. I love it. I love it a lot. I love Ozymandias. I love the comedian. There's some stuff about Silk Spectre that I liked. But also, like, with Dr.
Ocean
Manhattan.
Master.
Yeah. Friggin' Night Owl. Night Owl. It's not a lot. And then the thing is with Rorschach, like, I used to idolize Rorschach, not because like of his ideals and like his morals and stuff, just because he was a cool character. But I grew up and I was like, this man is horrible. He is a horrible person. Like, Jesus, this man is just not right in the head.
But he looks cool as shit.
Yeah, but he looks cool. But my God, like when I read more about like Rorschach, I was like, why did I like this character as a kid? Like, why was I trying to be so edgy? It's just not it. It's not it, dude.
Yeah, Watchmen is fine. It's fine. I think, but until before Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I think that was his best movie, comic book movie.
And I know that you're not a big Zack Snyder fan as much as I am, but I mean, I'm glad that you said that. That was Watchmen is a good Zack Snyder film. But I like Watchmen a lot. I think the show is even like just as good as the movie. I think I want like an epilogue like episode, but I know they're not gonna make like a season 2 or anything. They're not gonna do that, which sucks. But anyways, you can continue.
The movie Joker sucks. It's trash.
Damn.
Horrible. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Damn.
Not really, but I do think it's massively overrated.
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix's performance, incredible, amazing, phenomenal, deserving of the Oscar that he got. But as a movie, not a fan. That the second that he gets into the talk show, that from there to the end of the movie, great, awesome. Everything before, I'm not a fan. I don't really have a lot to say with this, so I'm just going to move on to my next one. That Black Panther is massively overrated.
Okay.
So 2 overrated movies. Black Panther, that shit got a freaking Best Picture nomination. For what? We know why. We know exactly why, but it doesn't deserve it. It didn't win, thank God, but it didn't even deserve the nomination. If we're being honest, it's just by the books, basic, average Marvel movie plot.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate and I will always respect what it did culturally, but people got to stop acting like this is the best movie ever made. You know?
Yeah, and God forbid we say this on TikTok, or else when we called anti-black.
You hate Chadwick Boseman.
It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, bro, come on, bro, ain't no way. Like, I've seen people, like, actual, like, black people say this, like, opinion on TikTok, and people will be like, why do you hate black people? I'm like, what? Where are you getting that from? God forbid we have an opinion on Black Panther, the movie.
I thought Killmonger was great.
Killmonger was solid. He's a solid villain. I like his his idea, like his ideology.
Yeah, kill all white people.
The oppressors.
White people.
To move on to my last one, my last unpopular opinion. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think so. I feel like the Dark Knight. I can't feel like it can't be as bad as the Dark Knight one. I think maybe. No, I'm scared.
All right, you're scared. Henry Cavill is a better Superman than Christopher Reeve. I'm kidding, and I never will say that. I never will. That is blasphemous. That is a blasphemous thing to say.
But
that is.
But it's true.
Are you sure about that, brother? Are you sure about that?
How is he not a better Superman?
You're joking, right?
Yeah, I'm joking.
I
flipped it around.
You said Uno reverse card. I'm trying to find one. I forgot to put it down. I would go on with the more movies that need appreciation. I'm gonna just say it. I think Superman Returns needs more appreciation, and Brandon Routh is a fantastic Superman.
Agreed.
So, I mean, Superman Returns, I feel actually, not even about Superman Returns. I feel with Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh is like the Andrew Garfield of like Spider-Man.
100%.
He's a fantastic actor.
One of the best iterations of the character, but is just in a bad movie.
Yeah, he was in a bad movie, and then they cut him short. But he has redemption in the CW as Kingdom Come Superman, which is fantastic. I love that character so much. Brandon Routh killed it again, and Superman's Kingdom Come suit in the CW is probably the best suit they have ever done.
He needs a solo series on HBO Max.
He really does. I feel like the CW does Superman's Kryptonian suits better than like any other suits. I really do feel like that's where they shine the best. Because they kind of almost had it the first time with Hecklin's suit and when he was on Supergirl, it was like
the cape straps were
that
much.
was it. And then they nailed it in they nailed it with Supergirl, in the first couple of seasons, and they got better with Supergirl, and then they nailed it with Hecklin's suit, and Lois. Oh, I was gonna say like they made it better than because they changed it a little bit in like the crossover,
the black suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they made it even better in Superman and Lois. Yeah, the collar was really cool. I like that a lot. And then like I said, they made it even better in Superman and Lois, especially with the Action Comics suit.
Oh my god, that suit is so good. I need more of that suit. Oh my god.
It's like my mom made it. That line, I love that line so much. I cheesed
so hard when I saw that for the first time. I was like, geez, this is Superman to a T.
Really, it really is. And then the Kingdom Come suit just makes it even better. And then the detail of it. The detail of it is so good. Like the little Superman insignias as the making of the suit for Kingdom Come. Yeah, that's peak Superman suit right there.
God,
Hecklin and Routh are great. But that's all. I mean, that's all the pop-up opinions that I really have.
I have a few more.
All right, continue. We'll discuss about that.
X-Men: The Last Stand is not that bad.
Okay.
I think it's solid. It's definitely the weakest out of the X-Men trilogy, 100%.
Yeah.
But I don't think
I
it's bad at all.
The X-Men movies, they're not bad movies. They just get messed up because of how convoluted they are. Like they have a convoluted like timeline, and they're just filled with like plot holes and inconsistencies. That could be said about a lot of movies, but that's just where the X-Men movies are just really at fault.
Let's not forget that X-Men 3 gave us Kelsey Grammer's Beast, which is just phenomenal. I think he's I don't want to say he's like one of the best casting choices ever, but I feel like he should be in the conversation a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the. I don't like the whole they brought in like the mutant cure stuff. That was a bit too soon. But and again they did. I appreciate the movie more now that Dark Phoenix is out because they managed to do Dark Phoenix better than Dark Phoenix, and it's still not great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no.
But like Dark Phoenix had the hindsight of X-Men 3, and they still dropped the ball.
I feel like with the mutant cure thing, they should have done it like around Days of Future Past. I always found Days of Future Past and Logan to be ironic.
How?
Because the Days of Future Past, mutants are getting killed off, which is try to prevent. Only in Logan they end up becoming wiped out anyways. So it's like what's the point? That's the ironic part about those two movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than that, I still do believe the mutant cure thing should have been around Days of Future Past, maybe even like a little bit before, or maybe like that could have been like a plot point in Days of Future Past because they're getting wiped out because of the mutant cure or some variation of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with your take on that.
I have two more. The Lego Batman isn't that funny, nor is it that great.
Wow. You want to know something that I've heard before?
What?
I've seen a lot of actually. I've heard people say that the Lego Batman is like the best iteration of Batman.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've definitely seen that. I don't get it. I don't think it's a bad movie, mind you. I think it's fine. I actually just rewatched it recently, and it was a little bit better than I remembered. But like the whole third act just kind of fell apart for me. It kind of just turned into, look at all this stuff that we own, Warner Brothers. Will Arnett was great. I thought everyone in it was great as far as cast goes. I just didn't think it was. I don't think it was that funny. But I thought the Lego movie was fantastic. So I don't know. So it's not like the brand of humor that I don't like. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what it is, but yeah, I'm not a fan of the Lego Batman movie.
Crazy.
I'm sorry. But
Damn.
My last one is the Star Wars prequels aren't good. Your nostalgia goggles are blinding you to the truth. Listen, I'm not saying you can't like the movies, but to say they're objectively good movies, besides Revenge of the Sith, is idiotic. They're bad. They suck. The dialogue is trash. It's laughable. It's corny. It's cringe. Just horrible. I respect it, especially The Phantom Menace, for what it did for special effects. But it's trash.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about Jar Jar Binks, which to be honest, I guess that's an unpopular opinion. I don't mind Jar Jar Binks. I don't like him, but I also don't think he's the worst thing to ever be created in the history of the planet.
Facts.
But yeah, the prequels besides Revenge of the Sith aren't good, and even some stuff in Revenge of the Sith, I'm like, I don't know, I don't know about this. Yeah, Star Wars prequels aren't. I understand growing up with them because we did, especially Revenge of the Sith. But like, yeah, growing up with them, and liking them on that level is fine. I like them.
Yeah.
But they're bad movies. And
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like a lot of this comes from when people say like the prequels are better than the sequels. I'm sorry, but
Mm,
they're
I
not. You
mean,
can like the prequels better than the sequels. You can think you think the sequel's story is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But they're not good. They're not.
I will say the prequels and the sequels are like inverse for me. While I have two like prequel movies that I don't like, but one that I do like, it's the opposite for the sequels. I could like two sequel movies and not like the other one, and which is funny because the one that I love is the last out of the prequel trilogy, or the one that I hate is the one out of the sequel trilogy. So that's kind of how I feel about those two and their movies. While with the original trilogy, I love all three of them. What I will say is that, could be arguable that the Return of the Jedi is the weakest out of the original trilogy.
It is.
And so that's kind of how I feel about it. Because, I don't like The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but I love Revenge of the Sith. And I like The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, but I do not like Rise of Skywalker at all. Holy God, that movie is just weird. Movie is like missed opportunities into one movie.
If you
It's
want to
literally
know more of our thoughts in detail on the Rise of Skywalker, you should go listen to our the best Star Wars trilogy episode.
podcast. Yeah, go watch that. There's other more thoughts I have, but I'm just saving them for another day.
Do you have any more? Do you want to like even read some of the blasphemous ones you read?
Um, the blasphemous unpopular opinions.
Yeah.
Let me see. I don't. Well, oh yeah, hell no. This person said the Suicide Squad is garbage. Can't even match the first Suicide Squad, which was pretty bad itself.
Yeah, that's a hard
Oh,
L.
and then this one, he says the Snyder trilogy is three of the greatest superhero films to date, and Batman vs Superman is the best comic book movie of all time. Yeah,
Jesus.
I'm gonna have to downvote that and report him for that opinion. Oh my God, that is just horrible.
I understand liking Batman v Superman. I don't, but I can totally get why you would.
Yeah, exactly.
But the people out there calling it a masterpiece,
I God, I can't call anything a masterpiece. And like I'm gonna say it on the podcast, I don't like calling anything a masterpiece because that term is just so loosely used, and I cannot use it.
yeah, everything's a masterpiece now.
My shit, I'm a masterpiece, bro.
Hell yeah.
It's like, but whatever. I mean, is that it?
Is that the show?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Avengenerds podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE Nerds, all one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @itzenith_ on Twitter. Where can they find you?
Follow me at Torrentino.
Report us account.
Oh
we
God.
we have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there. All of those will be linked in the show notes. You can also check out our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you could leave 5 stars and a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to the Avengers podcast. We'll see you next week.
See you later.
Infinity War is overrated garbage.